लालचंद सर। Hi, very fine. Good morning to all of you.
Hello, sir. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Uh,
Please wait for a couple of minutes,
sure. Yeah, please.
then we will start.
Right.
Dhanashri ma'am.
Am I audible, sir? Lalchan, sir? Ashish?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, yes. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am. You are audible.
Okay, thank you. Uh, Lalchan, sir? Please inform to Roshan, sir, also, sir. Lalchan, sir, is there? Lalchan, sir?
Yeah, I am in.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Sorry,
Yeah, yeah.
due to some technical problem and I'm became
That's
late.
fine. Sometime it happens. It's
Yeah.
it's beyond our control. That's fine.
So, hello, everyone. A very good morning to one and all. I'm Dr. Dhanashri Tumbe. Takes this immense pleasure to welcome you all with this international webinar on liver health on occasion of World Liver Day. Today is World Liver Day. So it is organized by GH Raisoni University, National Service Scheme, and SS School of Pharmacy. So on behalf of GH Raisoni University, I highly oblige to welcome today's resource person, respected Dr. Roshan Palewar sir. Honorable Vice Chancellor, respected Dr. Meena Rajesh ma'am, Registrar Dr. Shriram Joshi sir, and our respected Dean, School of Pharmacy, Suhas Sakarkar sir, and all my dear colleagues and all enthusiastic, sprightly participants. So prayer purifies our heart. Our heart must be pure. Good thoughts come only in pure heart, and good thoughts lead to the good seeds. So it's good event to start every occasion with blessings of Saraswati Ma. So let's pray to Goddess Saraswati. So I request to you all and Ashish to step ahead for Saraswati Vandana. Ashish. या कुन्देदु तुषारहारधवला या शुभ्रवस्त्रावृता या वीणावरदण्डमण्डितकरा या श्वेतपद्मासना. So after the blessings of Ma Saraswati, we will start this session. So this webinar is divided into 3 sessions. It's going to be very informative, as the itinerary very exciting. So I sincerely hope that everyone will enjoy this session. Now, without wastage of time, I would like to start today's first session by introducing our first resource person, Dr. Roshan Paleva, sir. Roshan Paleva, sir, biodata is very brief. Within few seconds, I think it is not possible to describe this. And sir is very inspirable, very energetic, and uh, all dear students, and especially if GH Raisonian, if you are attached here, so listen sincerely and be coordinate with Roshan sir, so that it will be, you are lucky. Now this session will be started with this Dr. Roshan Paleva sir. So Roshan sirs.
Yeah.
Sir, uh, says biodata. This is Dr. Roshan Palewar is an entrepreneur, global pharma leader, advisor, mentor, researcher, formulator, doctor, psychologist, international speaker, and an avid pharmaceutical professional with 15 plus years of rich global experience. To his credit, he had successfully developed 400 plus products and launched many pharmaceutical products across the US, Europe, APAC, LATAM, and CEMEA also. He has been a recipient of several national, international prestigious awards, most notably Pharma Ratna Award, Silver Feather Lifetime Achievement Award, 100 Most Impactful Healthcare Leaders Global Listening Award, Top Pharma Innovation Award, Healthcare Leadership Award, India Leadership Brilliance Award, Best Healthcare Award, and honored by the Health Minister for his extraordinary contribution in the pharmaceutical industry. Dr. Roshan is CEO of Doc Roshan Global Solutions, a global brand of Doc Roche Health Private Limited. He had flew Doc Roche at the rate to be India's first integrated healthcare platform technology with his senior experience in the pharma sector. Before Doc Roche, he had worked with companies like Merck, Sandoz, Oakland, Dr. Reddy's at various levels in research and development, project management, and program management functions. In his last assignment with Merck Limited, he served as Global Technical Project Leader in Global Research and Development. Due to his diversified profile, he is a part of Executive Council at Institutions Innovation Council of Ministry of Human Resource Development, Executive Councils and Medical Committee of IDMA, that is Indian Drug Manufacturer Association. Honorary Industry Expert Council to many global institutions and organizations. He is also an editor board of 4 international journals of medical and pharma. Dr. Roshan has been invited as chief guest, keynote speaker, and panelist at various global conferences in Portugal, New Zealand, London, UK, Italy, US, Japan, and many more. So he desired for learning as unparalleled and holds MS Pharmaceutics, MD, PhD in psychology, and business intelligence, and Six Sigma, DOM, and DPM. Such passion has always been to help patients live a happier and healthier life. And as a social responsibility, he had more than 21,000 aspirants guided, mentored, and placed across industry. So, sir, really, uh, so now without wastage of time, I would like to start today's first session by introducing uh, this national service schemes, that is webinar on World Liver Day. So, so at the outset, it's my privilege, sir, to invite here on the stage of GH Raisoni University. So we want to uh, heartily welcome you from GH Raisoni University. And sir, I request you, please start this session.
Okay, I think that's really great. Thank you so much, Dr. Dhanashree ma'am, for a really wonderful introduction. And thank you so much to Dr. Lalchan for inviting me for this wonderful occasion. And in the first place is that I really wanted to thank the entire team of GH Raisoni University. And I think the family of GH Raisoni University under the sheer leadership of the stakeholders, this wonderful international webinar, which is on the liver health, is going to be a wonderful event in next few sessions. And I've felt myself privileged to be part of today's session, and I'm looking forward for much more fruitful interactive sessions. Let's keep it two-way communication. I'm going to exchange few of things, and in the reciprocation, I would also expect maybe questions, many doubts from the audience point of view. Yeah, I hope I'm audible to all of you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, you're audible.
Great. Well, so since I come from the industry and more from the research and then manufacturing. And to be very honest with you, I love interacting with the students, especially because I believe they are the future of our nation, and the whole development of the nation is depends, relies on their shoulders. So I would keep it my session much more interactive. And rather than taking through the slides, I will directly, go into conversations. Let's say it's a discussion rather than a speech. Okay. So I hope that would be much more interesting for all of us, right? Okay. Um, let's see. How I would like to take few moments I would cover up three segments in today's talk. Okay, especially on this World Liver Day. This is a very unique theme, and where the entire universe, entire world is, contributing in the, development and the betterment of the human life. And on top of that, the core vital organ is the liver, which is very important for the our fitness, our health, lifestyle, and everything. And therefore, I would like to have three segments of my talk. One would be definitely, since the forum where we have the most of the pharmaceutical researchers or students who are pursuing various courses and degrees, and therefore, I would like to open the talk from the pharmaceutical industry, from the global perspective to the national domestic perspective, Indian market perspective, and then the second segment where I would like to highlight about the vital organ liver, how important it is, that how we can take care of it, and in reverse how the liver can take care of our health. So we're going to discuss on that in brief about the liver and its life and its healthiness, right? And the third segment, if time allows, I would like to spare a few moments on the current status, where every single person in the entire world is experimenting the impact of COVID-19 pandemic situation, and how the industry is working on that, how the healthcare service providers or healthcare system is working to bring the best of the health by keeping everyone at most of their immunity state altogether, right? So that would be my agenda for today's talk. Well, I don't have any presentation, especially because I wanted to interact and keep the session absolutely open, right? So without much ado, I would like to then uh, okay, so let's see how the industry, pharmaceutical industry worldwide, because what we are today or where we are going to be, that is what more or less we are directly and indirectly linked with the pharmaceutical sector, and therefore, it's utmost my responsibility to give the glimpse about how the industry is all about. Okay, how the entire pharma worldwide is performing. Okay, so let me tell you that with the proud moment, you'll be very surprised. Okay, we'll be very surprised to know that the as of today in 2020-21, the entire global pharma industry is already performing with the revenue of 1.25 trillion USD. It's not million, it's not billion, it's a trillion. So 1.25 trillion US dollar. That's the whole worth of the pharma industry. Okay, and not just that, going forward, if I just take you through the next 3 to 4 years, you'll be even surprised to know that this entire global pharma industry is going to be 1.5 trillion US dollar. Okay, so what does that mean? If I wanted to take you back slightly, maybe let's say in 2001, exactly 20 years back, the global pharma industry was somewhere around 390 billion dollars. Okay, and whereas in 2014 itself, it already crossed 1 trillion US dollar as a entire revenue. So this is what indicates how strong the pharma industry is. Okay, no matter what kind of challenges are there, no matter what kind of a situation comes, external environment or even the pandemic situation, where the rest of the other sectors, excluding pharma, rest of the other sectors have been impacted very badly. Okay, they are seeing the worst of its phase, whereas the pharmaceutical industry is steadily growing. Okay, and taking the leap to enter into the 1.5 trillion US dollar very soon. So that's what the potential of the pharma industry, and therefore you should be proud. I mean, those special who are pursuing the courses or those who are already into the research segment, they would be feeling proud to know that you are into the very important and vital industry, which steadily growing. Okay, so here is what you have, a very secure future. That's what I would like to highlight to you. Now, I wanted to especially wanted to tell you about the Indian pharma industry at the same side. Okay, so we mentioned about the global pharma industry. Now, when it comes to Indian pharma industry, you will be even surprised. You'll be very happy and feel proud to know that today, as of today in 2020-21, the Indian pharma industry is already crossed the revenue of 55 billion US dollar. It's a 55 billion US dollar. Okay, and this is what it's growing in the rate of CAGR of 15.92 percentage. Okay, and if I wanted to tell you in 2005, exactly 15 years back, it was at the $6 billion. Okay, and in 2015 it moved to $30 billion, and today it's already at the $55 billion, and the future is much more bright for the Indian pharma industry. Okay, now you'll be even surprised to know that the kind of the industry, Indian industry, is ranked in the entire world when it comes to its quality and its affordability of the formulations or medicines which has been manufactured in the Indian infrastructure and have been exported to various part of the world. So therefore, it's very important to know that how the industry is performing. Okay, and you'll be surprisingly happy to know that the Indian pharma industry is actually standing at third largest in the world in terms of its volume. Okay, it's third largest in the entire world. Okay, whereas when it comes to its the size, it's sixth largest in the entire world. Okay, and the entire world production, if we talk about, Indian pharma industry is accounting for 10% of the entire world production. So that's the potential of the industry. Okay. Now, as you see that the Indian pharma industry is growing steadily. It's been exporting the formulations, medicines, whether it's the API or whether it's a finished formulation, to the entire world, to more than 200 countries. Okay. And it's the export market is already at the valuation of $22 billion, $22 billion in the current year, and it's already been serving to more than 200 countries. Okay. And you'll be even surprised, and possibly you have been witness in this current pandemic situation, where every single dose of the vaccine administered any part of the world, it comes from the Indian manufacturing facility. Isn't it? It's really, honor to be part of the pharmaceutical sector, Indian pharmaceutical sector, because every single world is looking at the Indian pharma industry now. The India is become the hub of the pharma, and there are many reasons for it. Okay, for example, the US and if you look into the kind of the cost of research and cost of manufacturing of the medicines, if you are compared with the US, Europe, and in India, it's almost half as compared to the US. And therefore, the entire the development, whether it's a R&D or whether it's a manufacturing, is being triggered or targeted from the Indian pharma industry. Okay, and on top of that, the entire US generic formulation demand, approximately 60-65 percentage of the US demand have been supplied from the Indian pharma industry. So that's what the potential, where we are living into it, and therefore your future is absolutely bright, because we are already, I mean, you are going to enter the already established industry, which has been worldwide been ranked at top 3 position. Okay, and therefore your career, your future is absolutely bright. And let me tell you, you are going to rock no matter what kind of challenges comes forward, as far as you are connected or you are part of the pharmaceutical sector in direct capacity or indirect capacity. Okay, now that was the first segment I wanted to highlight about the how the industry is performing. Okay, now next few moments I would like to spare and let you know the world sees the health in the best of its capability. Okay, and when I talk about taking the today's theme, where the World Liver Day, if I wanted to talk about a segment specific, how the liver segment, if I just talk about the liver health supplements, the formulations or the medicines which has been used for the in the line of treatment of the liver, and if we talk about that, it's already performing at the approximately 22-23 US dollar millions, 23 million US dollar in the current scenario. Okay, and therefore and this formulations or supplements includes the vitamins and minerals. This also includes the herbal supplements. It also includes the allopathic formulations in direct capacity. So the health segment of the liver segment section, it's already very much booming. This size, the market size is pretty high. Why I'm highlighting this particular factor more on the financial perspective or the performance perspective, because you'll also come to know what kind of challenges are there in terms of the health of the people, and what kind of different disease elements the entire world is suffering, or let's say at least India is suffering. Okay, I mean, you possibly knowing that India is already the world capital of diabetes. Okay, and going to be a world capital for the cancer also. So slowly, these are the very chronic diseases where going to be captured the health of the people and impacting their healthy lifestyle actually. And therefore, what happens, we have to look the perspective more from the broader way, and looking at the horizon, how we are going to survive, how we are going to keep ourselves healthy and fit in a way to fight this battle. Okay, this battle what we are going through, it's completely new, because nobody has ever seen such kind of complications earlier. And let me tell you, it has a lot of factors. It's called the external environment factors, because the kind of air that we are inhaling, it's already polluted. The kind of food that we intake, it's already been polluted, okay, because it has the chemicals, the fertilizers coming from the lands, okay. And on top of that, the water that we drink, it's also been contaminated. It has a very high level of the TDS and high level of the heavy metals, which actually impacts the health of our organs, especially the liver, because the liver is something very crucial and important to keep the things moving track, okay. And now the next question comes, how the health of the liver, whether what kind of disease that we are going to suffer, especially when it comes to liver. We say it as in a two-way, whether it's called as a reversible way of the life of the liver, and the irreversible. There are the two ways where the liver get damages actually. There are the kind of, we have the healthy liver, but the kind of food, the water, and the air, and the kind of our lifestyle that we are going through, it's actually, and that's also includes the psychological pressure, the stress, and the tension that we are suffering, which actually deteriorates the health of the every single organ in the human body, okay. And the reversible conditions which can be corrected, I mean, first of all, from healthy to non-healthy liver state is could be the because of the fat accumulation or fat deposits on the liver, which could be reversible, okay. So nothing to worry on that side of it. But when it comes to the condition called where the liver cirrhosis, where there's extreme liver cells get damaged and there is no irreversible things happens, that becomes absolutely chronic state, right? And so in that particular state, one should not enter into that, because we that means we have already been suffering since many months, many years, by avoiding or overlooking our individual health on day-to-day basis, okay. So if liver get damages, that's the indication that we have been overlooking various factors on daily basis since many months and years, right? So it's a time to understand how we can protect ourselves. We can protect about the liver conditions, how we can improve our immunity, and how we can change our lifestyle, so that we take care of our organs, our body in a much better way, and then secure the health in a long healthy way, okay. So that is what the reversible and the irreversible state of the liver. Now, if I further wanted to tell you about the stages where how the liver diseases get occur, first stage, which I say, which is a reversible, again, I'm highlighting that, where the fatty liver, excessive deposition of the fats, which causes actually enlargement of the liver, and thereby their functioning on day-to-day basis get impacted or imparted or get delayed, and which ultimately leads to the chronic situations, and thereby rest of the other organs get impacted. It also leads to the high blood pressure or the low blood pressure, because it has a direct impact on the blood circulation altogether. It's also impacting your state of diabetes or the blood glucose level at the same time. And there are many other associated diseases start getting occurring in the body itself, right? Now, when that fatty liver is being ignored or overlooked, and then we further go for in the next stage, where the liver fibrosis occurs, where there are the tissues forms the scars, it get damages internally, and that actually impacts the life of the liver cells in very bad way, and thereby which ultimately leads to liver cirrhosis, which is again the extreme condition where the tissues are being damaged, it's being permanently scarred, and which cannot be even workable in the normal course of conditions, and which cannot be even reversible, right? So from healthy liver to fatty liver, and that to liver fibrosis and cirrhosis, is a long process, okay. It takes its own time, it's its own toll that we are paying by avoiding overlooking on our conditions, right, which could be avoided at all, right? Now that's what we have to come into the picture and say that, hey, how I can then protect myself or protect my liver altogether, how can improve the liver condition, what things should be done, what things can, should be avoided, and then we can change a little bit about our styles, lifestyle, and then coming from non-healthy to healthy lifestyle, and then protecting the entire organs. So first of all, let me tell you, you might be wondering how the liver get imparted day by day as we go grow further, right? There are a lot of factors involved into it, but just I wanted to have few of the essential um, elements or the factors which we might be consuming it or doing it without knowing or unknowingly, and thereby we are actually leading the organ into the very chronic stage, right? For example, alcohol intake is a major cause for the liver damage, especially. Okay, and let me tell you, if you are drinking the energy drinks or the coffee of high content, which also impacts the liver's tissues, and thereby it deteriorates the health of the liver, right? Then if you're doing, let's say, work, if you're the for example, if you're working in the industry or working in the any corporate or any institutions where the pressure is too much, workload is too much, so this excessive workload also impacts your health of the liver. Okay, similarly, smoking is another dangerous thing that impacts the health of the liver, right? Now, if you're already going through or suffering through the various disease condition, and you are taking some prescriptions, some medicines, some drugs, so let me tell you, few of the drugs has its own side effect, and if the excessive dose of that specific medicines is actually leads to toxicity, and thereby it impacts the health of the liver. If you look into this all the aspect, possibly we might be we could avoid that thing. For example, if you're already suffering from some kind of illness or infection, so that becomes the acute and the chronic condition for the liver to perform. Similarly, as I mentioned about the workload, it's directly also leads to the stress. So whether it's emotional stress or the psychological stress, so this stress actually impacts on various organs and also on the liver. Okay, so we should, no matter what kind of condition or situation or difficulties or problem that we are into, we have to keep ourselves cool, calm, and poised, and avoid the excessive thinking. Let me tell you, you will be surprised to know that in a day, in a 24 hours, a human being, any person, whether it's a man or woman, okay, how much thoughts that get generated in the brain, you'll be surprised. There are 60,000 thoughts get generated. So we think too much. 60,000 thoughts a day. Can you believe? I mean, we are wasting our entire time, our entire energy, our entire body's energy just into the thinking process. So stop thinking, start acting actually. So we need to focus on what is important and urgent for us, and spare the time for that rather than thinking too much on all the unwanted which could be avoided. So this stress actually builds a lot of associated diseases in the healthy body itself, right? Now, today's generation, forget about today's generation, most of the people, irrespective of the generation, now we have been shifting our food habits of natural foods or the raw foods to more processed foods, whether it's a sugar or flour products or so many other things. So this processed foods also impacts the liver conditions, right? Now, obviously, as I told about the environment, there are a lot of toxins, there are the pesticides, there are the heavy metals comes from the various form, either from the water, either from the what do you call the foods. This also leads to the excessive condition, chronic conditions, right? And then there are the nutritions which is supposed to be we should maintain on daily basis, but because of the poor our eating habits, we are missing those nutrition, and that leads to the even the serious conditions of the liver fatigue also, right? And obviously there some people might be what do you call allergic to certain foods, certain elements. So obviously that could be another addition to the liver conditions, So now, if you know, these are the areas which we could have been avoided, or possibly we could be not, connected in our daily life, and thereby we can protect the our liver, not only liver, but also we can protect our entire organs and keep ourselves healthy in the long run. Now, the other question possibly might come: how we can self cleanse the entire liver? Okay, I mean, for example, if you're operating, if you're, let's say, any machine, whether it's a, what you call, uh, let's say, fridge or TV or any other, let's say, laptop, for example, since we are digitally being connected and remotely being, executing this international webinar. So every single, whether it's a instrument, equipment, there is an auto cleansing process, right? So the moment you put the button on that, so it gets automatically self, curated or self cleans the entire toxins, or let's say bacteria, or from the digital perspective, virus, and thereby you can, you have the better version or the much healthy version of your existing equipment, right? Similarly, then we also need to go through the self cleansing of the every single organ. And if I talk about the liver, then yes, we have to work on two sides of it. One is the preventive side, okay, how we can then prevent the liver congestions, and second is the how we can repair the already damaged liver. So one is the prevention, and second is the cure, or treatment, or the repairing, right? But one thing is very simple that we could do it and come into the very comfort zone, which is like prevention, right? So stop taking alcohol, caffeines, avoid taking sugar, avoid taking the pesticides, foods, processed foods, okay? And then you also will need to avoid the taking the toxins from the various foods, or the environment, from, let's say, from the air, water, or food, whatever it may be, right? So we should stop taking such kind of, or avoiding such kind of things which actually impacts our liver conditions, right? And then eat the, what you call, grains, the full grains, that actually very healthy for our liver, right? Then obviously the regular exercise keeps the body fit for every single organ. And also most important, that possibly we avoid, because we are too much busy in today's world, okay? Like, and this digital, let's say, the virtual conferences or the virtual classroom becomes additional stress to every single participants, for the student point of view, even from the faculty point of view, to execute the classes, the lectures, and everything. So that builds a lot of stress, and we miss to drink water on regular basis, right? So drink a plenty of water. And why it is so important, let me tell you. If you I'm telling you the very secret of keeping yourself healthy, no matter what kind of disease that you are going through or you're going to be, okay? um as let you, in our human body, there are more or less 40 trillion cells, okay? So that 40 trillion cells, actually, because of that, the organ get forms, and because of the organ, there is a body and there is a health, okay? So if your cells are healthy, your organs are healthy. If your organs are healthy, your entire body is healthy, okay? And how the cells could be healthy? Because cells needs the what do you call, the it's supposed to be hydrated all the time. So we have to supply the water, which is this great source of energy, minerals, vitamins, and so many other elements, into the plain water itself, provided that is been, of uh, properly been filtered and everything, so there are a lot of conditions applied to it. But only the water itself can cure the lot of, disease conditions, okay? Because it's it gives the energy to the cells, and it activates the entire cells of the entire body, okay? So imagine the 40 trillion cells of the body get activated, charged up, it gets the fresh antioxidants, fresh oxygen to the body, okay? And thereby we can correct the all the disease conditions. So it's very important, no matter how busy we are, but we should drink plenty water throughout the day. throughout the day. Keep hydrated, especially during summertime. We should be taking extra care by drinking the extra water, actually, So we have to actually, in a long run, if you just wanted to tell you maybe a few seconds on this particular point, from the repairing point of view, if you wanted to repair or recover from the damage already been happened, then start replacing at least 2 meals with the juice, the fresh vegetable juices. If you replace your 2 meals per week and with the vegetable juices, you'll be, seeing yourself transiting from non-healthy to healthy in a few days down the line. Okay, so that's the power of self-cleansing internally, right? As I told you, plenty of increase the quantity of water that you drink. Increase that one. That will keep the body hydrated all the time. And then obviously there are what we call the black seeds. If can able to use the black seed oil in your food, that will also enhance the liver health. And obviously there are what we call if you're taking, you can take the glutathione, which can improve the health of the liver, right? So these are on the prevention side of it. And therefore, in a natural course of time, and no matter how we are tied up in the schedule, but if you start taking few a very rich source of the nutritions, which is very important for the liver, for example, grapefruits, okay, the beetroots, for example, the carrots. Okay, I'm talking about the natural elements which you can cleanse the body by taking this particular natural fruits or vegetables. Green tea, start using drinking the green tea rather than taking the coffee or tea. Okay, apple, okay, you know it very well, uh, you know uh, uh, apple keeps the doctor away. Okay, then broccoli is a high source of the antioxidants, right? Then what do you have there are the lemons, okay, which is a higher source of the vitamin C. Then there are many such naturally available foods and vegetables. For example, there's a food called arugula. Avocado is a really great fruit that one should have it. The walnuts, actually, the cabbage, whether it's a cauliflower or the cabbage, that is again important. And obviously the turmeric and the garlic. Okay, why I'm highlighting these particular points, because this all together in the natural course, we can boost our energy level, we can boost our immunity, and thereby we are able to fight with any sorts of bacterial attack or viral attack. Okay, and especially in this pandemic situation, we should be taking much more extra care about how we, how we think, how we drink, how we eat, how we sleep, how we do the things, because every single things are interlinked. And because the human body is the most complex, um, uh, thing in the entire world, right? And therefore, to keep every single the organs in a healthy state, we have to start thinking about how we can care about ourselves. Start loving yourself, first of all. Start loving about you, you know and give the compliments every single day. The moment you see the mirror, your face in the mirror, start giving the complimenting. Take care of yourself, first of all. Start loving yourself. The moment you start loving yourself, you will be much more happy and going to see the miracles happening around you. Okay, because if you're happy, naturally things, your organs become happy and your entire body become happy, right? And things automatically gets much more optimistic or positive in your desired way. So nothing harm in keeping yourself happy, right? Keep smiling and start loving from today itself. I'm sure you must be loving to someone else, but before loving someone else, you start loving yourself first. Okay, so that is really important on that particular point. Okay, now um, I wanted to take few more moments and wanted to touch upon the current segment. That is what the COVID-19 pandemic situation. Okay, maybe you can help me whether I should take up that particular a section right now, or we can discuss something else. I just wanted to throw this point to everyone. If you say yes, what's happening in the pandemic time, how the industries are working on. how the pharma industry manufacturing the formulations, or how the vaccines are been supplied. If you wanted to know that, I can take maybe a few minutes on that, or maybe we can jump to the next point altogether. The point is open to all of you actually. I just wanted to hear from you. Can I touch on that particular point? Okay, fair, great. Thank you. Thank you. I think all the participants are replying with the yes. That's it. That means that all are active. They are listening. Okay. Nobody is completely, in the sedative mode. Yes. Thanks, Sonal. Thanks, Pritam, Sanket. I can see your responses. Yes. So that's the best way to interact. Otherwise, we are just talking with the machines. Okay. Great. Wonderful. Wonderful. Thanks, Raj. Okay. So, by the way, how much time I do have, Dr. Lalchand? Maybe next 5-7 minutes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. So
Yes.
maybe I'll quickly wrap up this last section of my uh, talk, and then possibly we'll open up for the Q&A session altogether. Okay, now I'm not going to highlight how the impact of the COVID-19 the entire world. Everyone is knowing it. Everyone knows the stats figures about it. Everyone is aware about how the world is suffering and how every single person is also suffering, right? So let me keep that part apart. I'm focusing more on the cure side, the prevention side, or maybe on the treatment side of it. And let me tell you, there are a lot of myths, because I was, in last so many months I was working on this particular agenda. I deliver more than 200 talks in last few months itself. Okay, I know what kind of the psychological pressure, the stress on the every single person, right? Because of this COVID-19. Okay, so there are a lot of myths, a lot of true facts, but it's gone all jumbled up, and that's created a lot of panic in the common man. So let's avoid that panic. How we can do that? First of all, there was a lot of ambiguity about the vaccination to be done or not. What vaccination is right, what companies vaccine is good or not. Let me tell you, um, you know, in simple, like, there were a lot of essays that I heard, and a lot of people have asked me how the person who has been taking the vaccine dose is also getting infected. Okay, let me tell you, eh, when you talk about the antivirus, okay, it's any single virus which enters the human body, it first attacks this defense mechanism. Okay. So it attacks the immunity first of all, right? And thereby, the moment you lost your immunity, the entire vital organs become very fatal, and then ultimately you lead into the very chronic conditions, and possibly um, unavoidable circumstances, the death of the casualties of the victims. Okay, so the point is that your immunity is everything that we should focus on. Okay, we should start loving our how we can protect the immunity, and every single virus, it also needs the energy to survive. So for them it's a matter of survival. Okay, by entering the human bodies, and for us it's also a matter of survival by killing those viruses and keeping our body absolutely in the strong immunity state, right? So when anybody goes for the vaccination, let me tell you, initially, because what we are going to do, what vaccination is, perform or act in the system is that they start, building the antibodies for that specific antigen, okay, that specific virus. So when if you're taking the booster dose of the vaccines, then that specific moment of time, you are actually more vulnerable, because your body's immunity is been gone down, because body is started making the antibodies. Okay, and since this process takes its own time to have the higher immunity of vaccine, injections, so it takes at least a month or more than that. Okay, so if no matter if you've taken the vaccination dose, but you have been exposed during those period of time, you are about to be get attacked by the virus. But the fact of the matter is that even in those cases where the patient or the victim has been attacked by the virus, COVID-19 virus. Okay, uh, let me tell you, since you have the already existing antibodies in your system, your body, the likelihood of impact of this COVID-19 virus is much more lesser as compared to those who are not having the vaccine at all. Okay, so is my advice on more on the professional side, please ensure that you take your vaccination. Okay, and complete the second dose also. And if you have no observed that initially the government have given the the time interval, dose interval from first booster to second booster vaccine was approximately 3 to 4 weeks. Now it has been observed through series of incidents and the cases, the interval time was very short, and therefore the interval have been increased from 3 to 4 weeks to 6 to 8 weeks, approximately 45 days. By doing that, the immunity is much more been built in the system, and that actually makes our body ready to fight against the antivirus. Okay, so that is important to have a second dose. Now every single vaccine has a different what do you call the mode of operations or the actions in the body systems, and there could be a difference of the time altogether. But in general, looking at the current vaccines that is there in the market, the interval should be almost 6 to 8 weeks for the second dose. Okay, that's one side of it. Now let me tell you, since it's a very pandemic situation, and it's a real emergency that I think possibly we have seen for the first time so far. Okay, and there are the certain dose, certain medications which were active, have been used in the line of treatment of the COVID-19 virus. For example, favipiravir tablets. Okay, so this favipiravir tablet of 200 mg, 400 mg, and 800 mg strength was very much useful in the treatment of this COVID-19. Okay, but let me tell you, because of heavy demand, because there are so many cases, so many casualties, so many incidences of COVID-19 infected positive cases, there's a greater demand of these medications, and because of that, it's a short of. Okay, so medications are not available in that quantum that's supposed to be there. Okay, and then the more appropriate drug is a remdesivir in the injection format. Okay, where there's a lyophilized drug, as well as the solution injection is also available, remdesivir injection. And let me tell you, in India, there are only few companies, approximately like 6 to 7 companies got the licensing agreement with the US-based company called Gilead. Okay, and these are the companies include Cipla, Hetero, Jubilant, Dr. Reddy's, okay, Zydus Cadila, and then there is a Mylan, Syngene International. These are the 6 to 7 companies who got the tie-up with the Gilead, and they got the license agreement to manufacture this injection, remdesivir injection in Indian manufacturing facility, and supply to the domestic market. Okay, but again, as I told you, there is a heavy demand and there is a shortage of the drugs. And obviously, even even these 7 companies start manufacturing the injections, it may not be available to every single patient. And therefore, recently, the government has started giving the what do you call the DCGI NOC for the local in the sense Indian manufacturers to manufacture the medication, which was early meant for the export market. Okay, so although they were manufacturing it, but they were exporting to the different countries. Now government has put the ban on the export, and those remdesivir injection is now been forcefully asked to supply to only domestic market. That means the Indian patient itself, as a emergency, right? So there are, you're going to see in a few days from now, there are at least next 6 to 7 more pharma companies who will be going to manufacture the remdesivir injection for the domestic market, and thereby there will be a availability of this remdesivir injection in the line of treatment of this COVID-19. So there is a good sign. Now the other point was the cost of the injection was too high, obviously high, because it was not, the technology is not of India, right? It has been imported, right? And therefore the earlier the cost was very high. But again, uh, DCJ came into the picture, the government came to the picture, and the NPPA body, we say it as a National Pharmaceutical Pricing Authority, NPPA. They have done the price control on this particular injections, and the initial havoc or the shoot of the prices of this injection now has been controlled and come down to lesser than 3,500 to 4,000 a vial. Okay, so that's what the development happening. So in parallel, there are other what do you call the medications which is currently being used. And if you look into the regimen, the prescription, it has the antivirals, it has the analgesic and antipyretic drugs, it has the multivitamins, minerals, it has the zinc, potassium, calcium to supplement the immunity, and thereby the existing positive cases during the quarantine time, they get recovered, because still we have the line of treatment available. But yes, very specific drugs are the remdesivir, favipiravir. So these are now being available, about to be available in the Indian market. And I'm sure this situation is going to be overcome soon. But again, rather than the responsibility of the government, it's our responsibility to take care of ourselves, not necessary to rush outside, go outside until it's a real emergencies. So we need to stop that particular chain, of this virus, and thereby we can protect ourselves and also protect the others. So yeah, so that was the point I wanted to specially highlight about the COVID-19. And I feel this okay, so I feel that we touch upon all three segments. One is the pharma industry, second is about the liver health in the current context, and obviously the current situation of the COVID-19. And I think I feel all these three segments would be very much fruitful and helpful to every single participants. So I would like to conclude my talk here, and then possibly we can open up for any questions are there. Let's see in that way. So thank you for the patient listenings, by the way. Thank you. Over
Thank
to
you
you.
very much, sir. Dear
Yeah.
participants, if you have any questions, please drop on chat box.
Okay, I think there was a couple of questions on the remdesivir vial. So I think we already just highlighted about how the pharma industry getting the additional DCGI approval to manufacture this remdesivir drug in the Indian market only. So yeah, I think that has been answered. Is there anything else?
Okay, sir. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So, thank you very much, sir. Really, it was indeed a great presentation. It has sparkled a true debate on this topic, and you have given the fruitful knowledge about the COVID situation also. So, thank you very much, sir. Sir, we want to express our
Thank you so
heartfelt
much.
thanks.
First of all,
Yes, sir. Our heartfelt thanks to you on behalf of GH Rajaswani University. Sir, to felicitate you, we have created a certificate. This is a certificate for you. Hope you will like this on behalf of
thank you
School
so
of
much. First of all,
Pharmacy.
absolutely. I appreciate the entire efforts and support given from the team of the university, and I'm overwhelmed with the kind of the gratitude and the honor given from you. Special thanks to Dr. Lalchan, obviously Dr. Dhanashri ma'am, and obviously the Dr. Mina ma'am for having me today. And I'm looking forward for future interactions in the coming days.
So sure, sir, sure. Even I think on in last 2019, I had called you about I want to attend one of the international conference in Mumbai. That time I also miss you. So thank you very
Right.
much, sir. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Then
Thank you.
let's look forward to some more views on the topic in our next presentation. Dr. Manoj sir is present with us. So welcome you, sir. It's a very pleasure to welcome you on the stage of this GS Raisoni University. Sorry, because of some technical problem, from my side, I became late to join Roshan Paleva sir, and now you have to wait for us. So, Manoj Upadhyay sir is here with it's our pleasure with us. Sir, that is, sir has indeed work, number of publications, international conferences, that is 50 paper present that is published by Manoj sir. And sir has got the prizes like Govind Acharya Prize and Gulait Prize. And uh, he got the Best Paper Award in Pharmacology and Toxicology, Best Poster Award also, Best Publication in Peer Reviewed Journal category, Executive Master of Business Administration, and Fellowship by University, that is Grants Commission India. And Sir awarded, that is Professor R.K. Murthy Memorial Prize and Professor Govinda Acharya Prize. Professor Govinda Acharya Prize in 2008. Now he is working in Life and Health Sciences Pharmacy, UK. So, sir, we are already late. Sorry, you have to. आपको हमारे लिए थोड़ा वेट करना पड़ा ऑलरेडी ड्यू टू द टेक्निकल प्रॉब्लम रोशन सर भी वेट कर रहे थे और उन्हें भी जहाँ पे हम बैठे हैं उस बिल्डिंग में वेबिनार का और नेट का कुछ प्रॉब्लम आया था सो विदाउट वेस्टेज ऑफ टाइम नाउ आई रिक्वेस्ट यू सर प्लीज स्टार्ट सेशन
Thank you so much for such a nice introduction, and thank you organizers for making this happen and inviting me for this session. Am I audible to everyone?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Yeah.
Yes, sir, you are very clearly audible.
Just a moment, I'm trying to share my slide. Yeah, there it goes. Can you see my slides now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I think the last session was quite interesting for you guys since it covered all the general informations about the current trends going in the like market and other scenarios. And I mean, like Dr. Roshan really touched the nice topic with COVID, which I mean, like is really important for like people to understand how not to be panic and how to keep yourself safe. Thank you, Dr. Roshan, for that. And the most important thing which I liked from his presentation was love yourself first. I mean, you love others, but love yourself first and make yourself happy first. That indeed will make others happy around you. And yeah, I know. Make
Thank you.
yourself happy, make your heart happy, make your brain happy, make your liver happy. And looking at that, I mean, say point, I would start from here to take. Like, I'll take you guys, I mean, from happy liver to happy brain and again happy liver, I guess. Or maybe I would say from bench side research to clinical research and then again to the bench side. Since I'm like I'm not a professional doctor, I'm a scientist, so I would like to touch on the research aspects in some or the other way where liver is associated with some brain complications. So that's why I just took over my topic on, say, a translational research a bit, like which will help you understand in terms of research, like what things you can do in your lab to make your research more recognizable in the market And market as in like, if you come up with a good molecule, if you come up with a good medicine, if you come up with a good drug which is helping mankind, and if it is coming in market, so it's ultimately like your goal which you are achieving. Like doctors work with the patients and researcher works back curtain to the doctors to help them with the good medicines and which doctors can prescribe for the good well-being. So coming directly to the topic, why I choose this topic was like the complications or the messy things going around with the liver. Like we don't care what we eat, what we do in our lifestyle, how healthy our lifestyle is, what we like do to survive. Sometimes it is just like we feel like eating, we just go and eat something, we eat junk foods, we eat blah blah things. I mean, just I can't count. If you look at your daily routine and if you just try to list out the things that you eat in a day, you will find that 60% of the things you ate were not even required for your body. You just messed up because you are craving to, I mean, your teeth were craving to chew something, and that's why you just did that. That's how your brain thinks. But looking at your emotions, you really want that. Say, suppose, I mean, I would say a samosa. Everyone loves samosa. I think if you just smell a good, I mean, like a processed samosa, you can't stop yourself. You will just crave. But at the end, listen to your brain, listen to your liver, what it says. Does it really need that samosa? How much oil it will have? How much calories it will be having? How much you will need to work out to burn that? And is it really important for your body? It's okay once in a while, but is it really important? So I would like to say like keeping a liver happy is the most important thing, because whatever you eat, whatever you drink, whatever you like, say if you are taking any medicines or anything, everything has to go through a first pass metabolism, which is a liver. So I would say like any complications with the liver is going to affect all the systems in the body. Since I am a neuroscientist, I'll focus with the brain. So the recent literatures and the papers, and I mean like a group of workers, they have reported like there are certain complications in the liver. Say like if you say hepatic encephalopathy, like a fatty liver, that mess up with your brain as well, and it can cause a seizure like or an epilepsy like symptoms, which are basically a general or focal seizures. In addition to that, say a person going a liver transplantation or any surgery with the liver can also have the strokes for the brain, can also experience the epileptic attacks. In addition to that, like a tacrolimus, which is an immunomodulator, as I would say like nowadays, because of this COVID situation and all, since the immunity is being going down, and people are definitely I mean like just trying to go and increase their immunity. They really want to be like in a good immune shape, so they are trying to take some or the other immunomodulators and all other stuffs, and that can also mess up with the like a seizure thing. And as such when you take any medicine, I have highlighted anti-epileptic drugs because I'm talking with epilepsy, but any medicine that you take will mess up with the liver. Say for example paracetamol, you are feeling dizzy, you are having some headache, you are having some body ache, we don't even think for the second and just go open the drawer, flip a paracetamol tablet, just take it in. But that single tablet of paracetamol mess up with the liver so badly, because liver has to deal with that drug, and it's just a paracetamol for us, but for liver it is something toxic. Okay. And yeah, all other medicines, like they gonna mess up with the thing. And since we have here the anti-epileptic drugs, like say traditional ones, valproic acid, phenatoins, then flavamate, phenobarbital, benzodiazepine, they all at some stage in the high doses or in non-appropriate doses gonna cause some liver toxicity. And it's being like everywhere written on all the medicines, on the flyers, that it can be dangerous to the liver. So before choosing the medicine, we have to be really careful, like uh, I mean like what pharmacokinetics effect it will have on the body. Now I would like to take you through a new aspect of the things where I would say if there is an compromise in the immunity or something goes bad, say brain has to, like, coordinate with all the body organs. So anything going wrong in the body, brain is a superior organ in the body which is going to take control of everything and which is going to command the entire body in some or the other way, how it has to react or how it has to deal with that particular thing. So recently a new trend has been developed in the market for the epilepsy or the seizure, where we are calling them as an antibody mediated seizures. So basically these are the antibodies generated by an own person in the body which target some of the brain receptors or the neuronal receptors, and they are at some or the other way responsible for the seizure development. And basically it is observed that the two basic components of the brain excitatory and inhibitory system, which is an NMDA and GABA, so they are most influenced, I would say, most influential components to develop this kind of seizures in the brain. So the the very first thing that I will talk about this model will be about an NMDA antibody. So to mimic this particular condition, like how it work in patients or how it is being activated in the patients or how it deals with the patients. So it is like we derived the CSF samples from the patients who were really high on the NMDA antibodies, and we observed that the rise of these antibodies in those patients were definitely affecting their behavior and their memory patterns, and they were having some focal seizures as well. So what we tried to do is, like, we just extracted the CSF from these patients and we injected this CSF in the mice for 14 days. And like, when you inject them for 14 days, the mice were severely under, like, you say cognitive impairment, and they were also generating the seizure thing. They were having some depressive like behaviors, and then they were really unable to coordinate their motor movements, and they were randomly like running here and there, and all the signs and symptoms, like they were totally messed up in their behavior. They were not even able to recognize the things, which exactly was mimicking the patient conditions. So that really made the thing interesting, and we just took some references from the literature and then we tried to look at it, what exactly it is. And we just came out with the facts, like, okay, if this mess up in the physiology of the behavior, if this mess up with the physiology of, or rather I would say the state of well-being of that subject a lot, how it will be affecting really in the brain. So to study that, basically there are certain parameters, like you can just go for this antibody binding sites in the brain. You can just study the receptor density where these antibodies are binding, whether they are the superficial receptors, they are the in-cell receptors, are they the nuclear receptors. In addition to that, you can also make some electrophysiology studies to understand or to listen the entire view of that particular field in the brain slice, or you can also target a single cell to study how it is behaving at that particular moment when this CSF and all these things were injected. And in addition to that, once you achieve this thing, you can also inject or you can also administer the guys with the standard anti-epileptic drugs or the marketed anti-epileptic drugs to study how they are really going or how they are behaving and how safe these marketed preparations will be in terms of pharmacodynamics and in terms of pharmacokinetic effects to the body. So that was a primary thing that the entire group thought of, and then they went with these studies. So how to achieve this now? Like, this is a big thing, like for 14 days, and when you have to inject that antibody to the guy, so it's a bit difficult because since they are antibody, if you like if you daily poke them, then Then there is an another stress which will be called as an handling and an injection stress to the guy, because no one would like to go and get the injections for daily, like for 14 days or so. So there are certain techniques like to inject these things for a long term, or rather I would say a chronic term, like 7 days, 14 days, 21 days, 3 months, 6 months. So we have like two options. Either you inject the things directly in the brain, or you inject them subcutaneously, I mean like in the periphery. So the very first thing, like if you would see this part of my slide, it has a pump like thing which is called as Alzheimer's pump with its flow moderator, which is being connected to a connecting tube, which is a, I would say, I mean PEP, polypropylene tube, and then it is being connected to the cannula, which is secured on the brain of a guy. So the pump rests on the dorsal flex surface, dorsal subcut surface. The tube is just hanging like at the dorsal back nape of the region, and the cannula is being targeted to the brain. So that is the first or the one strategy where you can inject directly the things in the brain which may find difficulty to cross the blood-brain barrier easily. Now, the second part of the slide, it shows for the peripheral administration, where you don't have to inject the guy daily and you just implant the pump once, and the drug is being daily released at a particular concentration in whatever way you want, say like 1 microliter per hour or 1.5 microliter per hour, and whatever is your desired concentration, like 10 microgram, 100 microgram, 500 microgram, whatever you put in that fluid. So for that, you just first need to prime the pumps. So for doing that, just take the pump, fill it with your drug, add the flow moderator to that, and since it's being capped now, you can just put on the dorsal surface of the guy. So just clean shave the dorsal surface, make a little bit of incision, say like 0.5 or 1 centimeter, through which your pump will be easily slided in at this dorsal subcut pouch, as you can see in this image there, and then just suture it up and then glue the suture. It's, I mean, like it looks so complicated, and of course, it will require really a good and ethical permissions and everything. But although the surgery and all these things look complicated, but they are really easy to do. And once you get expertise in that, and once you gain the mastery in that, it will really give a good value to your research. It will really give a good, I would say, importance to the work in the community. After that, the most important thing to understand is, like, if we are looking at the patients or the epileptic guy, or you would say, how do we record them, how we know that a person is epileptic? Because the patients, they may show some fits, they may show some seizure, they may show some episodes to us, but is that really enough? That can be anything. It can be jerk or anything. So to understand that, we always take the EEG of the guy. Like all the neuropsychiatrists, they will just take the EEG on the multiple points on the brain, and where they study the brain waves. So the similar type of instrument is being developed by a company, and it's available in the market with lot many transmitters. So all these are the transmitters with the range, you can see, like right from the small to big. So they can be just like in the mouse and raw, I mean like rabbits and all other things, whatever are your subjects to study. So the easiest thing is, like, the transmitter look like this. It has a wire. You just implant the transmitter somewhere at the dorsal surface, and the leads, like one will be a depth electrode and one will be the reference electrode here. So that's why there are two wires. So the depth electrode goes with your electrode to a particular level of the brain. Say suppose if you want to pick up the signal from hippocampus, if you want to pick up the signals from temporal lobe, if you
Yeah.
want to pick up,
Yes,
sorry.
sir. सर आप ऑडिबल नहीं थे बीच में. Now you are audible, sir. Please continue.
Okay. Just let me know, yeah, in case if there is any problem.
Yeah.
So is this slide, was the last slide clear? Or do you want me to explain this slide again?
No, sir.
Okay,
You continue.
so yeah, so these transmitters helps in recording the brain waves from the moving objects. So it is really easy thing, and I'll just explain how it works. So basically what you do, just take these transmitters as I showed you in the last slide. Like you have to make an arrangement on the dorsal surface, shave them, and then just slide these transmitters there and pull up the wires to the brain, and whatever region of the brain you have to record, say temporal lobe, frontal lobe, hippocampus, cerebellum, whatever, or any region, just hit one of the depth electrode to that level, and the ground electrode will be just screwed on the skull, and that will give you a beautiful recordings from the brain. So how it works, like, so the entire system works in this way, like it is called as a long wire data acquisition, from where I mean, like, it is just being connected with the internet protocols and all other stuffs to the computer, and we have a data receiver. So you see all these cages are there with the guys in, and they have the antenna loops from where the radio frequency signals are being collected from this Faraday cage and these guys to the combiner and then the octal data receiver. From this octal data receiver, the signals are being processed by the long wire data acquisition system, and then they being put to the computer for us to read. And see how beautiful the wave looks like. If you just take a control guy, you have a good series of normal pattern. Like they look so simple and so synchronized, like very uniform. But if you check the same thing in the epileptic guy, you will just find out some bursts of, like, beta waves and delta waves and I mean, say theta waves and all those stuffs. So after studying these things, you can just realize, like, okay, the guy, how, I mean, like, in what complex phase the guy is, or what type of seizures the guy is facing, and what are the frequency, the duration for the bouts. And these transmitters, they last for like 6 months or so. So once you implant, you can just take their daily recordings like 24/7 for 6 months, and you can just see an up and down changes, like the normal behavior of the guy, if he is eating, if he's having seizure, if he's eating, if he's sleeping, drinking, whatever he is doing, you can just read all his brain waves for that particular duration. The next most important thing comes is, like, okay, that was all about the behavior, what just happened with the guy and what you were trying to study. But really, is that the thing which has affected the brain? So for that, to understand it, we basically deal with like two important I would say experiments or parameters, which is called as local field potentials and whole cell patch clamp. So this local field potential, this gives you an idea about a field of the area of the brain which you are trying to study. Say, suppose I am trying to study CA1 right now, which is a main area of the hippocampus, and this is a CA1 region in the brain. So when I place my electrode at that particular CA1 level, that electrode is going to read the entire peripheral, I would say the cell talking, or rather the cell communications, and it will show me a traces or the recordings, which I would say, or which I will be calling them as tracings. So if you just go through, I mean, if you just have a look at this control traces, they are so uniform. And I mean, like, yeah, with some of the octal bouts, because sometimes it is just like one or the other cell will just overshoot itself, so that's why it just goes more down. But look at the epilepsy thing, like from the central dogma, all the spikes are like very huge and they are being so elongated. So the more negative it is, that means the more negative action potential, and that means the neuron or that particular area is being shooting, or whatever cell you have targeted is being shooting very much. Okay, and which is, I would say, a sign of epilepsy. And the second, so this is about the area, but what about a particular cell in that area? Is that, I mean, like, is that cell, or rather cells in those area are all behaving the same? For that, you need a patch clamping. So combinedly, this is called as electrophysis. And In the whole cell patch clamp, you target a single cell in a particular area, say CA1, say CA3, or in whatever region, cortex or hippocamp, I mean like cortex or medulla or wherever you want to study. Target the single cell, patch them, and try to understand what that cell wants to say, or rather how that cell is behaving at that particular time. Is it really an epileptic cell because you have been injecting all these things to the guy for so long, and the guy was showing some good behavior of epilepsy or seizures that you were intended to see, and now it's a time to listen to that cell. So you can see here the control traces, they are so uniform and they look really nice. But in the epileptic one, the cells are shooting up like anything. And that's what we say how the epileptic cell should behave, because it will overshoot without having any inter-event intervals. Like the inter-event intervals will be short and the events will be more spikies. I hope, I mean, like, this is quite a bit complex, but it's easy to understand as well as if you can compare them. Um, Actually, since I'm running out of a bit time, I would like, I mean, I won't be taking more into all these things into detail, which I would love to take you all guys. But due to some time constraints, I would be just winding up the things. And I would say like the research or all these things, what you do at the bench side, it definitely helps you to mimic like it definitely helps you to mimic the pathophysiology of the patients which patients suffer with. And you can always try to treat all these conditions with the standard drugs that are being available in the market, or the prescribed drugs which are being in the market, or the regimen that a particular patient is being going through. In addition to that, this particular technique or this I would say procedures will help you understand a deep cellular or a deep, I would say, a fluid mechanisms of the particular condition, like how it is behaving, how the I would say how brain is trying to communicate with I mean how the brain cells are trying to communicate with each other at that particular phase, and what signals brain would like to send or share with the other peripheral organs. Because when we talk about the tremor, it's of course a brain which is overshooting the neurons at the muscular junctions, and because of which there is a twitching and we see a tremor. And that of course I mean like applies to all the organs in the body. And you can also be like very sure about some targeted receptors and some like ion channel modulators, because since you are dealing with the ion channels and ion channels in the brain, you can just like go up and down with the ion concentrations and say like potassium, sodium, calcium, and you can just try to understand which particular ion channel is being involved in this behavior. And yeah, of course, these techniques will definitely help you out in getting a good, like FDA approvals and everything, because the FDA wants each and everything to be planned and designed right from the beginning to the end, so that, and of course, the doses and everything which will be safe for the humans, which we calculate from like phase 1 to phase 5 clinical trials. So US FDA is really concerned about that before giving you an approval about that. So if your study is really planned in a good way, they really appreciate that, and it's really quite easy to get an FDA approval, and then you can just take your molecules to the, I would say, like market or patients. The most important thing which I would like to say here, that like as I said, my talk will be like from bench to bedside and bedside to bench again. So why I said that bench to bedside, because by doing this particular procedures, you can take your medicine from bench, as in lab, to the bedside, which means to the human beings. Okay, like the patients can be treated with that. But why reverse? Why vice versa? Why bench? I mean, like bench, bedside to bench again? Because say sometimes it happens like your molecule after, I mean, like administering in the patients. may or may not be like in the subjects that you have studied in the preclinical studies, which will show all the behavioral symptoms, all the complications which humans might show. But once you inject them in the humans and you see some complications, some adverse events, some adverse effects, or maybe some drug-drug interactions, or maybe the interaction of that particular molecule because of a lifestyle of a particular subject or a patient, that time you really need to study again about that molecule, and you can just come back to the lab again with that molecule for a deeper study, which all the industry guys do. And with I would say the most important thing about this thing is like, since we are dealing with the brain, and we can't just, I mean, like, there's always like 90-95% similarity of a rodent and the I mean like a human brain, but it's not always the same. So the best thing, when I mean like, if you have a good clinical consents, then you can just take the tissues from the human body where they are going through the biopsies and everything with the, I mean, appropriate consent procedures and consent forms from the patients, their parents, and the hospitals and everything. If you have a good collaboration, you can always have the human tissues, say like brain tissue, liver tissue, any tissue which a patient has been subjected for the biopsy surgery, and you can always study that tissue in your lab using these procedures. I have targeted brain cells because I'm a neuroscientist, but you can do this electrophysiology things on the cardiovascular tissues, on the hepatic tissues, on the I would say renal tissues, or any tissues that you want to study. So I think that technique will really help you in improving, a quality of the research that you guys do. I won't take a more time, and I would really like to end up the presentation there. So thank you everyone for your patience, and thanks organizers for giving me this opportunity to put forward the work in front of the community.
Thank you very much, sir. Thanks a lot. Really, it was a great presentation. And you explained this to the participant by giving example of model development osmotic pump implant in vivo EEG recording and possible implication in clinics also. So thank you very much, sir. Thanks a lot. You shared your valuable time with us, and it is really a sparkle presentation based on the technology. Sir, we want to express this is a formal thanks from GH Raisoni University. So we
Mhm.
want to express our heartfelt thanks to you on behalf of GH Raisoni University. And it is honored to felicitate you by giving certificate from School of Pharmacy, GH Raisoni University. Hope you will like the certificate, sir.
Thank you so much. That's really a good certificate. And really, thank you so much, Dr. Dhanashri, Dr. Nilesh, Dr. Lalchan, and all the organizers of this event. I mean, like, the very first time when I received an invitation, I was like in a bit dilemma, because I'm not a person who work on liver. But since it's an occasion of Liver Day, and I was really thinking about how to correlate like a hepatic and the neurosystem, both of them together, and I just came up with this idea. I hope everyone would have liked this and they would have enjoyed the presentation.
Sir, I also very pleasure to see you after so long time. Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah.
After department, here only I'm looking you on this webinar.
Yeah,
So,
that's true.
so I'm very much thankful to our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Ma'am, Dr. Meena Rajesh, our respected Registrar, Dr. Shriram Joshi, sir, Dean, School of Pharmacy, respected Suhas Sakarkar, sir, and directly and indirectly all who are involved to become this webinar successful. Thank you very much to Lalchan sir and Nilesh Rarorkar sir. Next session that is by the Mitish sir. He is in Dubai, and as per his convenience, we arrange his session at 6:30 p.m. So it is humble request to all participants. Don't forget to join the session of Mitish Durge sir from Dubai at 6:30 p.m. So thank you very much. Now I'm going to announce the end of this webinar. This is first session, and the third session is remain, that is by the Nitish Durgesar at 6:30 p.m. So participant, don't forget to join. And bye to all. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much once again, Manoj sir. You shared your valuable time with us. Thanks a lot. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you.
So dear participant, here the end of this two-session webinar, that is first half session. The next session, that is by the Nitish Durgesar from Dubai at 6:30 p.m. So don't forget to join. Thanks to all. Take care. Don't go outside without any reason. Bye to all.